heart, healing for your home. The Redeemed Marriage Podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant with our brand new opening jingle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to our friend and listener and supporter of the Redeemed Marriage for creating this for us. And we tried it out last week, got a lot of really good comments on it. And some of you said, we almost changed to another podcast. We thought that it wasn't you, but this is us, so do not change it. And I really hope that so many of you now have that jingle stuck in your head. Every time you start singing the little jingle, I want you to just pray for us. How about that?
How about that?
They can do that. Pray for us as we are fighting for marriages all across the globe. So, speaking of, we're gonna jump in today. Here's what I know you know a little bit about what we're going to talk about because you suggested it. And so just to kind of say where we're going a little bit, we're going to talk for a few minutes at the beginning about something that we learned this weekend at an intensive that we were actually leading.
Right.
But at the end, you got to stick around because we're going to tell you guys a God story that is so cool, and you're going to want to stick around and hear that story.
Yep.
And I think it's going to encourage you and just be a big-time reminder of how God pays attention to our marriages.
Even the little details.
The little details. So, hey, it's really late at night. So a lot of you that follow us and know us, you kind of know our rhythm. You know that Sunday we usually record. This comes out on Monday morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:05 actually, Central Standard Time.
In 8 hours.
That's right, because it is super late, by the way. But we're not missing an opportunity to hang out with you guys and share with you. And so we got in late because we've been over in Atlanta where we do our retreats and our intensives. And so we make frequent trips over there, and it's great. We love it. And we love intensives. And so this weekend, we had an opportunity to spend the weekend with an amazing couple. And so we were over there, got over there late Thursday night, but spent all day Friday and Saturday with this couple. And then today got a chance to go to church with them and then headed back. And so here we are. Coming to you and doing this podcast, but I think we're still running on adrenaline a little bit, but we're also really, really excited about what God did through the weekend. And so what I was going to do first is I just want to tell you guys that when we do intensives, so it's just one-on-one with another couple, when we do those, I think that God speaks to us in just as powerfully as he does the couples that we're working with. We absolutely love doing intensives. If this is something that you feel like your marriage could benefit from, we'd love for you to visit our website, theredeemedmarriage.com. Check out the page that talks about intensives. Send us a note. We'll communicate with you. But so this weekend, I felt like God really spoke to us in a lot of different ways. And so just to kind of set up a little bit, when we do an intensive, we get a lot of information about the couples, the couple that we're going to be working with. There's some questionnaires and stuff that they fill out ahead of time so that we just know their story and we know how to prepare. And so we do preparation before we ever get there. And we have these 2 days, literally 2 full days, just completely planned out what we feel like God is kind of leading us to talk through with them. And so we got over there, probably 12 pages of notes and outline that we wanted to go through with them. And we got to the end of the first day, which was awesome. Just had a great time getting to know them, hearing their story, going through a few things. And we got done that night. And you said it first. You said, hey, we need to talk about this because you were feeling like God was telling you we need to redo all of day 2.
Yep.
And it was late at night. And so we sat down and we started planning for the next day. And like for me, the reason why I bring that up is because God's not just speaking to the other couple.
Right.
And I mean, he was speaking to us. And even though he was speaking to us in a way so that we could share with them, he was still teaching us that, because that's a stress point for you.
Yeah.
Like you were prepared and ready,
Yeah.
but you're the one that said, we need to rewrite everything for tomorrow. And so we did. We stayed up. We rewrote everything, kind of got our outline together for the next day. But then, like, that was a big moment because God spoke to you and said, let's change the whole day, basically.
Right.
And I was on board because, I mean, I was feeling that as well.
Right. And I think the part of that was so crazy is I felt very comfortable with our plan. Like our plan was a great plan. It's not like we had not planned. We planned. But God was like, hey, we're going to change this. And I'm like, whoa, we had a plan. And I felt like that plan was from the Lord, but it's just his character to be like, okay, but trust me in this. This, because if you can trust me with the original plan, you can trust me with this pivot, and I just, it's a little scary because it's like, okay, here we go. And we even did a couple of things that we've never done before.
Yeah, we did.
On
the day before, we had done
it's
some
like,
things.
oh, we hadn't done this, but I feel like we need to do this. And it just was like, oh, but that's, I don't know the author of that book, maybe Tim Keller, the instrument in God's hands, something like that. And it just, that's what I felt like you're just my instrument. Like I'm holding you and you're going to do what I tell you to do. And you're going to say what I want you to say. And so quit trying to depend on your own preparation and your own plan and all of that. So,
you know, and I think, to be honest, like I kind of looked back over the stuff that we were planning to share that day. And I think there was a lot of
Overlap.
it mixed up in there.
Sure.
And we probably could have just gone ahead. We could have gone ahead and it would have been fine. But we shifted and pivoted because we just felt God speaking to us. But then, even on Saturday, so that day, we're in the midst of it, and you're up there in your element, giving your big communication topic, and you got the Post-its all over the wall, and you're writing and stuff. And I was like, and really, God told me one thing. He said, write this phrase down, and it was two phrases. He said, write these two phrases down. And so I had my papers, and I just flipped it over to the backside so it'd be blank. And I wrote those two phrases down. You were still up there. And then it was, now write these two down. I wrote those down. He said, now write these two down. And I just was, and you even one time you said, is that right? You asked me a question.
About
I was
what
like,
I was talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not even listening to you. But I just was like, God's telling me we've got to share this with them. And so we went through, and I went through, and I was just boom, 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 boom. And I ended up coming up with, it was either 7 or 8.
It was 7.
Like big truths that were just like, God needs y'all to hear this. And it was awesome, but it was so much fun to just hear God like last minute, just changing things. And so all of that to say, there's a couple sitting across from us that we're getting to pour into, but at the same time, like God is just speaking to us.
Yep.
And I think that so much of that is because there's people praying for us. That place is prayed over constantly. Like people are like literally praying for that space that we're in. And then we have people back home that are praying for us. We have family that's praying for us constantly. And so it's no wonder that happens. But then every now and then they'll speak a word.
Yeah. And
it's like, there you go. We learned from you. And so that happened to you this weekend.
It did.
So thanks to our new friends.
Yes.
And so Heather just wanted to share for just a minute something that kind of changed her perspective on some things. And I think it'll be a good word for for our listeners too.
Yeah. So they were just sharing our story. Sharing their story. And part of their story was he went to a thing at their church called Engage. Is that what it was called? Re-engage. I should have looked at that before I started talking. And he learned something. And, there's a bunch of different reasons why you would go to something like that. But, there was broken trust, of course, of some sort. So there's, people there with all sorts of different kinds of broken trust. But one of the things they taught them was to just focus on the next 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, let's not worry about 5 days. Let's not worry about a week, a month, a year, what it's going to look like 5 years from now. Let's just focus on the next 24 hours. Well, he was just telling that as part of their story. And it was like God just said, hey, that's for you too. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? And so I'm, of course, still listening, but I'm going through a different kind of journey, of course, where it's, this is not secret, and I've shared this a time or two, where I'm just really trying to get a hold of my health. I don't want it to be about weight. I just want to be healthy, and I want to be strong. And, I'm 51 years old right now, and I just, your body starts getting old. And I'm like, no. I've got to get healthier. So I've been kind of on this journey of getting healthy, and I battle food is obviously my biggest thing, because I do love a sweet, and I do love candy, and I love cupcakes, and I wish I didn't. And I've been, cutting those out and not doing those. And it was like God said, hey, this is a word for you too in your health journey. Just focus on the next 24 hours. And I shared that with them. I was like, I love this 24-hour thing, because that can apply to so many things. And of course, they were applying it to what they were going through. And then I was applying it to what I was going through. And then I twisted it and was like, that's exactly what we have to do in our marriages. Like, we're not worried about, are we going to make it 5 years? When you're in crisis mode, you can't even think about the next day. And so it's, let's do what we can do for the next 24 hours. Let's make the right decisions and encourage our spouses and love our spouses and serve our spouses and do all of that for the next 24 hours. And then tomorrow, we'll worry about the next 24 hours. And so it was just so powerful to me. And even like today, we were texting back and forth with that couple in our group, and we 2 different time hashtags 24 hours. It just kind of became this thing for us. And I was bragging on the fact, because I don't know about y'all, but I do terrible in the car. Like, I want a snack in the car. Like, because you're bored and you want to stay away.
Them Chewy Sprees are good.
They'll get you every time. And so I was like, it's dumb stuff like Chewy Sprees on the road. So I texted them when we were about an hour from home, and I was like, I've made it the whole way with no dumb snacks. Hashtag 24 hours. And so, it just became a theme. But I just, I learned that from them. And I'm never going to forget that.
Did you happen to stop and think how much that applies to the things that we've also been teaching over the last couple? Okay, think about our mentoring group the other night.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So some of you guys are familiar with, some of you are in our mentoring group, but a lot of you have heard us talk about it. So when people go through either marriage coaching with us or an intensive or a retreat, then there's a program that we encourage them to become a part of, and it's our marriage mentoring group. And it's a group. It's a big group, and they all get on a couple of times a month together, and we get to talk to them. And this past Wednesday, when we met with them, it was basically, hey, sometimes it's not about doing lots and lots of big things, because it becomes really overwhelming. And that was something we learned from somebody at one of our retreats recently, because the things we were sharing with them, it just seemed like, oh, now I got one more thing I got to do, and one more thing I got to do, and one more thing I got to do. And we were like, no, it's really just about one thing at a time. And so even taking that, what we did with our mentoring group, we gave them a day in the life of Rusty and Heather. It was basically 24 hours.
I didn't even think about that.
It was 24 hours, and it was just, hey, here's what we do in 24 hours. And you're going to look at it and go, well, that's boring and simple.
Yeah.
But when you break it all down, it's so intentional to make sure that our marriage isn't drifting, and it's very intentional. And so, I don't know, I just thought that was neat, that it was just another affirmation and another layer on something that we've already been talking about, and we've been teaching and sharing with people that we've been working with recently.
Yeah.
So it's been that was a great thing. So 24 hours, I think the key there is to understand that every 24 hours has the potential of changing your marriage.
Yep.
And so it's not, you don't have to go, okay, well, 2 years from now, things are going to be different. Because in reality, things could be very different in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because that's all you need.
That's right.
And then tomorrow you wake up and guess what? You got another 24 hours. So make a difference that day.
Yeah.
So I love it. It was great. Okay, so I promised you guys a God story, and this is I think it hit me a little bit different because of some of the stuff that we later learned, and I just have to share this with our people. Just going to share this story. I'm going to be very careful, obviously, because I don't want to tell anybody's story, and so I'm not going to do that. We're obviously not going to share anybody's name or anything like that. But this morning, it was Sunday, and we actually went with the couple that we were with all weekend at the intensive. We went with them to church, and so the Atlanta area, for any of you that might be familiar with it, so we had a chance to go to Passion City. We love going to Passion City Church when we're there, and so we have family that goes there, and so we're able to go with them. And so it wasn't extremely unusual that we were at church.
Sure.
I mean, we usually, I don't know, maybe 3-4 times a year we get to go and worship with Passion City. So it was great. Went and had a wonderful time at church. We come out into the lobby. It's a big church, big place, lots of people.
Church,
okay,
lots of people.
So we're standing out in the lobby. Our new friends, they went ahead and headed on back because they had to drive, obviously, to get back home. And so we were waiting on some of our family that we had come with because they went to pick up a kid from the youth group. And so we were just standing out there. You know, there's people everywhere. And there was a lady that was
standing like by the coffee area.
Right.
And I had just filled up my coffee cup.
Because she was a volunteer.
Yeah.
And so they call them door holders, which we've had a chance to be a door holder at at Passion, the event. But she was just a door holder and struck up a conversation, just casual. Just like, hey, you guys waiting around on somebody? I think is how she started it. And we were like, yeah, we're waiting on somebody picking up a kid, and so we're just hanging out here. And she said, oh, we just filled up the coffee. Go fix yourself some coffee. And Heather's like, I already did.
And she asked what kind of mug I had.
And let me just say this too. You just bought that.
Yeah.
And I tend to put pieces of these stories together and just go, what? I mean, so we're at church, our church last Sunday. Heather sees a good friend of ours. He's got this mug, and she's like, oh, I'm always looking for these, mugs. And she's like, where'd you get that? And he told her, and she's like, I'm going to order it. So she ordered one. And it became the centerpiece of the conversation that led this lady
had it
to us.
Less than a week.
Yeah, so she's like, "Oh, I really like that. Where did you get it? And what kind is it?"
And
all
I told
that.
her exactly what that guy had told me.
Yeah,
I was like,
so
it's not aluminum on the inside, so it doesn't change the taste of your coffee. And she was like, "Oh, you're a bougie coffee drinker. So am I." We just
and here's where I want everybody to hear: nothing's an accident. Nothing is an accident. And so they start talking about bougie coffee, and even Heather says, "Rusty, you never called me by name. You just said." My husband doesn't even drink coffee, but he makes my coffee every night. And she made a comment. She was like, she even said, "Oh, that's so sweet." And you said it again. You were like, "Yeah, he fixes my coffee, and we even grind beans and everything." And she was like, "Oh, I do that too." And so she goes, "Where do you get your beans?" And Heather said, "Well, we don't live around here, and so we get it from a local place because we live in Mississippi." And she goes, "Oh, are y'all just here visiting for the weekend?" And so I know that you said, "Well, we have a marriage ministry, and it's called the Redeemed Marriage, and we're here doing a marriage retreat." No, you said we're here doing a marriage intensive.
Yep.
And there's people all around. It was a shift in the conversation from coffee. And so I really don't know what she heard, except she said, "Oh, I follow them." And,
So
look,
she obviously heard the Redeemed Marriage.
she heard the Redeemed Marriage
Intensive.
and Intensive. And so she just jumped in and said, "Oh, yeah, I follow them." And at first I was like, maybe she was just being nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
I was
trying to connect.
Trying to
like,
connect.
oh, yeah, we have something in common. We both listen to them.
Right. But
yeah.
she goes, "Oh, I follow them." But then I think what may have happened is that she might have thought that we were there because we needed the intensive and we were doing the intensive and the Redeemed Marriage was helping us.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she said, "Oh, I follow them," she looked at you and her eyes got really big and she goes, "Wait, are y'all them?"
Yeah.
And you said yeah. And and everything changed.
Everything changed.
And she lost it and just started crying. And so I knew
she wasn't crying out of excitement that she saw us.
No. But I mean, here's the thing. This is what's a little bit crazy about all this too. Occasionally we will be in a place where somebody recognizes us or recognizes our voice. I mean, we've even been in other churches that it's happened like that before.
Yeah.
But so I mean, it is unusual. It's
unusual.
very unusual. Like it's not like we're celebrities or something. So, but she said she started crying, and I knew it was kind of the way she was a little bit embarrassed, so she turned kind of and
Towards
started
me.
talking to you, and I was like, "Go for it." So I walked away, and that's kind of all I'm going to share about that. But she began to share her story with Heather. So if you're listening, you're unbelievable. Thank you for doing that. But she shared her story with Heather. Heather got a chance to pray for her. And so we get in the car afterwards and I asked you, I said, "Hey, tell me about that." And Heather kind of filled me in on the story. I asked their names and you told me their names and I said, I know those people.
Names.
I know that name. I said, "I know that name." And so I mean I knew where I knew it from, and I pulled up our prayer challenge from February, and there it was.
Yep.
Her story. We prayed for her.
Yep.
And I just like so for those of you who don't follow us, in February we do a February prayer challenge where people can submit prayer requests. And it's grown over the last 4 years. It started where we wanted one a day so we could pray for 28 marriages. And this year we had over 450 marriages that we prayed for. And when you guys hear that number, 450 sounds like a bunch. That's a lot of people. But I want you to think about this. 450 people out of the billions of people in the world, right? And we just happen to be standing face to face with one of those prayer requests that we have never met. We don't go to that church. I don't know. All I could do was walk away from that and think God cares about marriages so much that He would allow us the opportunity to just stand there and encourage somebody that we've already prayed for. And I mean, like, it's not like this is a little church and we didn't tell anybody we were going there. I mean, all of it completely blows my mind.
We started a whole conversation over my coffee cup
About coffee.
that I bought last week. Yep.
And I just can't help but think, for those of you that are listening and you're just like, I don't even know if God knows that my marriage is the way that it is.
Does he see me?
He is for your marriage. And I 100% believe that he is working behind the scenes, and we have no idea what's going on and what he's doing. And it's his timing. It's not our timing. And so some of you are like, well, why doesn't he give me some, I mean, I don't want to say a sign, but like, why doesn't he give me some encouragement like that?
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, but I just know that your marriage is that important to God, to figure out ways. And can I also just throw this out too? It's the first time that we've ever been to church on a Sunday morning with a couple from our intensive. And it was just because the timing worked out.
Sure.
There wasn't any other reason. It was just the timing of it and where they lived and all of that. I mean, it was, again, all part of the plan, obviously. But I don't know. It just, I can't, I will tell without ever telling somebody's story or their name. I will tell that story forever.
Yep.
Because it made that big of an impact on me to know what God's doing behind the scenes that we just have no idea.
No idea.
So I hope that story is an encouragement to you, and also just to know if we prayed for you and you've asked for prayer, like, God's still working.
He's still working, even though that time slot is over.
It's over. Right. Like that prayer time slot is over.
Mm-hmm.
But God's not done.
He hears.
And he's still writing your story.
And sorry, I'm going to add something else as you were wrapping up. And his timing is always perfect. Like, even with this couple that we just did the intensive with, they tried to do an intensive months ago.
A year ago.
And then something came up, and then we didn't have a date, and then the summer hit, and then all of these things, and we finally get to do the intensive, and they share with us that it would not have been the success that it was because their hearts weren't ready when they first reached out to us. And so even when we think like, oh my gosh, we messed that up, we didn't have a date for them, or we letting them down, God's like, I got this. Like, I have this. Like, it wasn't their time to come. If it was their time to come, y'all would have had a spot available. And so trust him even in those. Like, that's even so in the waiting or in the frustration, or, you know, he is working always. He's working. And in his time and in his character and in I mean, you just have to trust in all of those things, and you're not alone. You're not alone. So hashtag 24 hours, you got this.
Well, and I just want to say, so we've told some very vague stories about a couple of new friends now that we have, a new couple friend, a new person we met at church. And I just want to say thank you to them because their stories and their interaction with us and now part of our lives have changed us.
That's right.
And you know, now we have a new sense of energy and even urgency to help marriages. And so you guys have no idea what you do when you encourage us. And not just these couples that we're talking about, but so many of you in the way that you support us and lift us up. It means more than you know. So thanks. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
The Redeemed Marriage Podcast.